like marking the end of the foundation of hip hop. It was officially the end of those positive, uplifting lyrics to elevate you out of that negative state of mind. And now we're moving into reality rap, which ultimately just became more gangster rap. And of course, we know that Tupac would kind of lead the way of that. But so crazy considering how Tupac started as a background dancer for Digital Underground, dancing, smiling, having a good time. And he came out of performing arts school doing ballet. And even when he first got into rap, he was making songs that were political and, you know, were speaking to those different social issues. But there was absolutely nothing gangsta about Tupac. This was a day and night transformation. And so many people that were around Tupac regularly have come out and said that this gangsta image that he was putting out there was not even close to who he really was.
I used to play in a place called Hollywood Athletic Club a lot. And that's where, I forgot how I first met Tupac, but Tupac and I would play, and we every now and then would meet up there. And what was interesting is that it felt like, from my perspective, it was a kind of a weird thing with Tupac. Like, we would play and people would say, you know, your friend looks a lot like Tupac, but nobody ever thought it was him because the side of him that I knew was so different from what the whole gangster thing. Because I speak the way I speak, no matter who I'm with, right? And so people would be like, oh, that guy's not Tupac. Tupac's not that goofy. But then, like, we would be playing and all of a sudden he'd go back into, yeah, nigga, I'm a good, and I'm like, somebody black must have walked into the room. Yep, there it is. Yep. It was kind of like, he would turn that on and off. It was like, I say it's like, imagine if Al Pacino kept in Scarface mode for the purposes of other people around him.
Now, obviously, you mentioned it was a special time, and you had a special relationship with Tupac. Talk about that.
Yeah, man. Me and Pac had a great relationship. You know what's great about Pac? Everybody think he was like this thug, this gangster. First of all, he was too like he's a performing arts high school kid. Okay, Pac was very smart and he was very silly. He was a clown, and he wasn't a real gangster, but he act gangster, and he's method actor. So he went a little bit too far, and you know he's like, "Oh, I'll shoot you!" Pow! He really shoot you. Yeah. So he overcommit. But I could tell he wasn't a gangster because he had the softest hands you ever wanted to like touch on a man. Like, no gangster has hands
like
this hard.
He was moisturizing them.
No, it was like I call him a Palmolive thug. Like he put it, come here, you want some of this? And he just give you this gentle hand. It was soft, and then he had these long eyelashes, looked like Snuffleupagus. Just like, you don't want none of this. I'm a dog.
But he sold the role, though.
He did.
A lot of people tell me Tupac is, for the most part, a nice guy. This old thug thing, hype. Good for record sales. Helps him identify with the young people who are out there and angry, who would maybe label him a sellout, like they did Hammer, if he didn't have that hard side. What about that?
First of all, nobody could call me a sellout. I'm not going for that. I'm not even in that. I'm not looking for approval from the black community because we don't give approval. You know, we don't really do nothing but exist. So it's not like black people could tell me you a sellout or you true blue.
I'm play devil's advocate again.
Right.
Critics say, yeah, but you're being pimped. You're being pimped by the record executives who will allow you to do your thug life because it portrays a certain black. I mean, you've heard it, that if you were just a singer, you wouldn't have the same record contracts you have.
Right.
But because you portray the thug life, the gangster rap, they've allowed you to make that money. They've allowed you to push and make your platinum.
I beg to differ. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting pimped. That's true. But just like how a woman would be, you know what I'm saying? Anybody to be pimped. You know, it's like, it's not that you get pimped, it's how long you get pimped. You know what I'm saying? Because if you really look at this situation, it is not I who's being pimped. When you look at them white kids with Raiders hats on, it's the white folks getting pimped. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm making their future. I'm writing down their curriculum. Right now, what I write in my album today, when it comes out in 2 months, that's what white kids is doing. So who really is getting pimped? what I'm writing in my raps is what them white kids is gonna be saying to their mamas and daddies when they come home. Who is getting pimped?
It just seems like Tupac was placed into that position to help to continue to further push gangster rap into mainstream. And it's hard not to think that it's not something more than a coincidence that his very last album has him nailed to a cross. And he's pushed as the ultimate hip hop martyr who died as a thug. And, that legacy just continues to live on. While the people that really laid the foundation for hip hop have pretty much been completely forgotten, almost like they've been erased.